Hi guys, Nameless Crusader here from the Justice Crew of Oshawa. Back here with another video for the RLSH beginner series. You're going to hear an annoying machine throughout this video, so please forgive the noise. It's more annoying being right next to it as I talk than it is for you to listen, trust me. So for this video, it dawned on me to tackle a very important but not often discussed topic about new real-life superheroes. Maintaining the motivation to continue on your path as an RLSH and not get discouraged or bored. It's an unfortunate statistic that about 90% of people who become interested in becoming an RLSH drift away soon after starting their venture, either from being discouraged or getting bored because things were not as they expected it to, or just plain losing interest. For the Justice Crew of Oshawa, our last official members to join were Bombshell and Broken Silence, and since then we've had about 5 or 6 interested candidates, but most of them stopped contact either before or immediately after our first meetup with no explanation as to why. Maybe things got a little too real for them as soon as they came out for the first time, or maybe it brought them to some sort of realization. I have no idea. But for this video, I'd like to go over some things that I'd like you, as a potentially interested new RLSH, to reflect on. Firstly, I'd like you to reflect on why you decided to become a real-life superhero in the first place. This reason, this spark of origin, for lack of a better term, is the engine that drives you as a real-life superhero. It's the foundation that your entire goal as an RLSH is based on. What initially sparked your interest? What is the reason you are interested? You really need to think about that driving factor. Are you wanting to do it because it seems cool? Do you like the attention? Or are you interested because you really vibed with the message that RLSH want to convey? Or did something just bring up a strong desire to do your part to help out our species? Basically, are your motivations superficial or genuine? Be honest with yourself. If your reasons are superficial, in my own personal opinion, you are not in this for the right reasons. And you probably will lose interest quite quickly. I myself am from the camp where I just came to terms with the notion that I really wanted to do my part to help other people in a fresh, revolutionary way. I watched the movie Kick-Ass back when it first came out, and while it's a violent action film, underneath the Hollywood dressing is a very real message. What's stopping people from actually going out and doing good deeds? After doing some research, I found out that not only was I not alone in this mindset, but there was already real-life superheroes in Oshawa. This reason, combined with my work ethic, is why I have been a real-life superhero for 3 years now, despite living an insanely busy life. So as an exercise, consider the fact that being an RLSH can actually cost a fair amount of money. From gear and equipment selection to care packages and donation items. Most expenses and donations will come out of your own pocket. How much are you willing to spend? So let's switch gears and take a look at another topic. The expectations that people hold when entering the world of real-life superheroes. It's unfortunate, and I myself am actually guilty of this, when I first started, that people often come into the community with grand notions of justice, vowing to fight criminals on the streets with vigor, taking the law into their own hands with violence. The people who come in with this view of hard valor are actually confusing run-of-the-mill vigilantism with being a real-life superhero. Excuse me. As I have mentioned in previous videos, while vigilantes take the law into their own hands, a real-life superhero is a friend of the law, working with police officers and using peaceful and defensive methods of dealing with crime. A real-life superhero should be capable of defending themselves if backed into a corner, but we are not out there to start fights or look for trouble. We are there to be a friend of the victim and an extra set of eyes for law enforcement. We're supposed to be role models. Another thing that RLSH hopefuls come into the fold believing is that with every mission, every patrol is going to be packed with action with not a lot of downtime. The exact opposite is actually true. Going out on patrols usually amounts to just being a lot of walking with the occasional conversation with interested passerby or police checking up on you. Unless you live in a big city like Toronto and patrol the downtown core, the chances of you happening to be at the right place at the right time to stop something is actually a lot lower than most of us would like. It's also a really stupid idea to expect that you can patrol a very dangerous neighborhood by yourself or in small numbers and expect a high probability of success and to, not wind up dead. Patrols can be relatively boring, and I think that facing that reality actually deters a lot of interested people who just don't have the patience to be persistent. One last thing I'd like to bring up is that there are some people who come into this not realizing how much work being a real-life superhero is. Unfortunately, there are those who come into the community with the false assumption that it's all fun and games. They don't realize that when out as a real-life superhero, they are faced with the possibility of legitimate danger. Being out in a colorful costume makes you a prime target for an ass-kicking if you aren't properly prepared. Going out on a mission takes prep work, even if it's something as simple as charity volunteer work. From putting on all of your gear, to notifying authorities, to collecting care packages, the items that go for the handouts, and walking around on patrol in the winter or in the hot summer can really take its toll on you. There's been many nights that I've come back from patrol during the summer, and the first thing I do when I get back is I down like 2 glasses of ice cold water. And some don't realize how much RLSH activities will collide with social obligations either. Even how much work it takes to remain anonymous to those close to you is an exercise in itself. So wrapping that topic up, just know fully what you're getting yourself into. It can be a lot of fun and very rewarding if you're willing to put in the work and patience. So the final topic of conversation is a very simple statement to beginner real-life superheroes. Ignore the haters. Even though the first real-life superheroes have been around for well over a decade, actually probably closer to 2 decades or more, the general public still isn't entirely familiar with the concept. To a large percentage of the general public, it's unfortunate to admit, but we're still seen as a bit of a joke. Well, out as a real-life superhero, it's not uncommon to be laughed at, mocked, insulted, and even threatened by less than stellar folk. I'm not excusing that sort of behavior, not in the slightest, but it comes with the territory and it needs to be understood. You need to be able to just let it roll off of you and ignore it. For those of us at the Justice Crew of Oshawa, we often wonder if we've entered the Twilight Zone if we've gone more than an hour without someone yelling a homosexual slur at us out of their car window as they speed off into the sunset. Hell, I've even had a cup of ice whipped at my head by a car speeding by. And to the guy who threw that, good shot by the way. Nailed me right here. There are also going to be people online, and even possibly the police, who try to deter you from your intent to be a real-life superhero. They will cite everything from you putting yourself in danger, being a burden to police, all the way to the fact that your costume or mask may scare the public at night. Always remember that as a citizen of Canada, the United States, or other first world country, as long as you're legally in the clear and not morally questionable, you as a citizen have the born right to do this. This is your chance to really exercise that right to free speech and expression. And never be afraid to cite this when people have the audacity to tell you how to live your life. Your right to do this is built on the sacrifice of tens of thousands. And to have people tell you otherwise is a gross violation of their memory. People might also try to sway you with another common argument. There are better ways to donate your time and or money, or some variation thereof. In my opinion, that may or may not be true. I don't care enough about that statement to bother debating it. What matters is that you and me, as real-life superheroes, have decided to spend our own time and hard-earned money to help out society in our own unique, striking, and refreshing way. We bring elements to the table that you can't find anywhere else. A sense of anonymity, a sense of self-identity and expression, and a powerful visual tool for bringing attention to societal issues with a small group or individual. To wrap up this last topic, is that as the one who's spending their own time and money to better help society, nobody has any right to tell you how you should go about doing it. Be polite and courteous, but you hold the power of your own free will. So, just to conclude things, being a real-life superhero can be hard. Be prepared to work hard and don't be lazy. Know what you're getting yourself into and ignore the haters. You have the opportunity to do good in the community and be a pillar of ascent for humanity's future. You just need to be willing to work through the long and boring parts and deal with the fact that we are a misunderstood and often stereotyped bunch. Don't give up and don't become complacent. There are times where you will feel like giving up on being a real-life superhero, but I can guarantee you we all have gone through that and similar bouts of depression. Just work through it. As a wise man once said, if you're going through hell, keep on going. Nameless Crusader, signing off.